So good morning everybody, and welcome back to the garden. My name's Carol. If you haven't been here before, it's lovely to have you with us, and if you are one of my returners, then it's great to have you back. So today I'm in the garden. If you haven't been on this channel before, I do all sorts of things. I do cooking, I do crafting, I do gardening, I do the odd bit of try on haul, I take you out on walks, take you on holiday. So it is really lovely to have you with me. Do look back at what else there is on the channel if you've just found me. But today we're in the garden. A bit overdue. I haven't been in the garden this week, hardly at all. Been busy with a few other things this week. And since I've got a nice clear day and the sun was shining a moment ago, it's a mixed day. It's sunny and cloudy, but it's not too cold out here. And so I thought I'd get out and get some jobs done in the garden. Before I started, I want to show you something I've just purchased. So I love bulbs, and if you've been with me, you'll have seen I've got some lovely tulips in the garden at the moment. And one of the things I want to do today is I've got some pots which have had tulips and daffodils in. And I want to transplant them into the garden. I'll talk you through that a bit later. But one of the problems I have with bulbs, you have to put them really deep, and I'm not that great at digging the ground deep. And I've just discovered this. So this has just come in. So this has just arrived from Amazon. I ordered it yesterday. And this, you affix to a drill. So I've got to go and borrow Mike's drill. That'll be the first challenge. And then you can actually drill down into the ground and it will make a hole that deep. Isn't that brilliant? So I'm hoping to give that a try. It might be today or it might be another day, depends on how far I get with the bulbs. But that is going to be great, not just for planting bulbs, but when I have to put plants in and things as well. Because my arm's quite weak, I find the digging quite difficult. I often have to go and find Mike to dig, and I don't want to have to do that. He's busy with other things. If you're not following us, he's very busy at the moment because he's creating a utility room in our garage. And there's plenty of videos about that further back. But yeah, I thought that looked like something really worthwhile. So we shall see how that works, maybe later on. But as I say, today I want to clear out some pots. I bought a lot of bedding plants this week, so I want to try and get those in. We're not going to get another frost here. We're on the south coast of England. Our weather here is quite mild. We very rarely go below freezing. Occasionally in the middle of winter overnight we might, but we very rarely get below 4 or 5 degrees overnight. And during the day we're fine. So it's a nice mild south coast climate, so I can do things quite early here. And we're heading off on holiday at the end of May, so I'm trying to get ahead so everything's planted up. And then my daughter-in-law's going to come round and water and that while we're away. So let me get myself sorted out, and then you can follow me in the garden today with all the various jobs that I get round to doing. Okay, so these are the pots that I want to repot, these two that sit on this corner. They had some lovely daffodils and tulips in them, although the tulips didn't come up as well as I would have hoped they would. So I definitely think I need to take them out, see how they're doing, and then if they're any good, I'm just going to replant them into the garden. You can keep them and dry them out and put them in later in the year, but I just think I'm going to get them in now. And hope for the best. Let them die down in the soil. One of the things that you have to make sure with tulips and daffodils is that you let all the green die down before you cut it off, because it's actually feeding the bulb for next year. So you need to deadhead and then leave the green to die down. The tulips are pretty much died down. I think that's because they're not that healthy anyway. I think it might just be overcrowded, or the pot's a bit old, the soil's got old, but they didn't do brilliantly this year. So as I say, I'm going to get them out, so let me start getting those out and seeing how they come out. And then what I want to do once I've done that is over here, as you can see, I've got a lot of bedding plants. So I want to replant those pots for summer. So I've got some little, well, I call them little bells, but I don't know what they're actually called. They do have a long name. And then I've got some stocks, which is the reason I want to put those in. They'll give me some lovely fragrance in there. I've got some begonias and I've got some antirrhinums. So I'm going to see if we can replant these pots up so that I can have them as summer pots. If you were with me the other week, you'll know that the other two pots that I put on the corners, these grey ones, they have got dahlias in them at the moment and some trailing begonias. So they'll be a little while before they're up. So with a bit of luck, I can take the spring stuff out from here and then put the bedding plants in for summer, and then late summer I'll be able to swap them over. But yeah. I'm going to use a fork just to tease these out because I want to make sure I don't damage them at all. Oh, there's a very, it all feels a bit pot bound. Let me see if I can lift it. Oh no, that's broken off now, so that isn't what I wanted to happen. I might just have to tip the whole pot out. See what happens. The thing is with bulbs, you plant them really deep, so I think actually I'm just going to have to tip it because otherwise I'm going to lose. That is only the, that one I've probably lost already. Right, there we go. Yeah, there's an awful lot of root at the bottom here, so I just think they've got compacted in here, I think. I don't know, let's see what happens as we try and pull this apart. Find the bulbs. Right, there we go. There we go. Right, so there's the daffodil. Another one. It's the thing with bulbs, you do plant them very deep, so getting them out. Another. Yeah, that's the other daffodil. I'm wondering whether the tulips have actually had it. These are okay. Right, let's see what we've got here. Yes, these are all the daffodils, and they didn't flower particularly well either. So I'll check the bulbs over in a minute once I've got them all out. See, they've quite a few. I think they've multiplied up as well. So see what's in here. That's some more. That's a big bunch. Ah, right, now they are daffodils. As much of the soil off the roots as I can at the moment. Right, that's my tulip. You can see I think it might. Alright, we'll see if we can transplant that. There should have been a lot more tulips in here, so I just wonder if they've rotted. We've got over here more daffodils. It's a shame because these tulips were a lovely pink and white, which I really loved. And I was hoping I could transplant them up into the back bed where they'd show up really well. But let's see. What have we got here? Yeah, see, that's tulip. But it's not really done anything this year. There you go. It's shot, but it didn't actually come up. So I might have to do a bit of YouTubing or something to see what to do with those. Or I might just plant them in pots and see what happens. Might be the best bet. These are definitely daffodils. See, I think they're tulips. They just didn't come up. They might have been planted too deep, or the daffodils are underneath. Yeah, these are the tulips. You see, they've got shoots, but they never came up. So, now that's broken off of its. Another little one. You see that? Go through this and make sure there's no more of them. No. Okay, well the two that did come up are broken off, so I think it's going to be a case of me maybe putting those into pots and seeing what happens even next spring. Sometimes it's the long game. I mean, this is really weird. It's got root coming out the top. Very strange. Okay. Right, okay, let me clear that up and then I'll empty the other one and see, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, I hope you see, one of the problems with filming in the garden is the sun's now, as you can see, I've changed into a t-shirt. It's really warm now, the sun's out. But because of that, I'm struggling to see the screen, but I think we're okay. All right, so I emptied both, and what I have here now are all the daffodils. So there's lots of them, and they do need separating out as well. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave them laid in this tray outside so they can get the sun and gradually die down, feed the bulbs. So all the green is out so that they can get the sun and convert that energy from the sun into energy in those bulbs. And then I'll decide once that's happened whether I'm going to plant them out straight away or whether I'm going to put them in store and plant them in the autumn. I'll have to have a think about that, because I might want to put them back in those tubs when the summer stuff finishes. So we'll see. So that's the daffodils. And then the tulips, as you saw, I only found a couple more in the other pot. And as you can see, they're all very much the same. They've all got this little, they've got shoots, but they didn't come to anything. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put them in a holding pot and see what happens. If they come up next spring, then that would be great. And then I can actually put them into the garden the following year. Or I might just find a place in the garden and put the whole pot in there and see what happens. But for the moment, I'm just going to put them in a holding pot. I've only got the one, I think, that has actually still got its greenery attached. So I think that one will get, but as I said, I think I'm going to put them into holding pots and see what happens with them. They may be done. See this one, you see that? Lots of little shoots, and the bulbs are all okay. I found one or two bulbs that had rotted. See, there's one there that's just rotted. But then there's a bit of a bulb. No, that's completely soft and rotted. So I'll get rid of that. Yeah, but it looks to me like they didn't manage to get up. And I'm wondering if that's because either the soil wasn't good enough or the daffodils. I don't know. But anyway, so that's what I'm going to do. I'll put those in a holding pot. I put the daffodils just out to die down in that tray. And then I filled the pots. Let me just get one of them up. So I've half filled the pots with the old soil. I'm going to put complete new soil in there and some slow release fertiliser, and then we'll plant those up. So that's the next job once I've put the tulips, got rid of the daffodils and the tulips. So back when I'm ready to plant up this pot. Okay, so these are the pots I'm going to plant up that I took those bulbs out of. I've half filled it with the compost that came out, because with bedding plants, their roots don't go very deep. So they're not going to need a lot of nutrition at the bottom, but they are going to need lots of good nutrition at the top. So I'm going to put bedding compost, multi-purpose compost on top of these to fill it up. And then the other thing I use is this stuff, which is the, sorry, I'm struggling to see the camera. Yeah, the Miracle-Gro. Can you see that? Yes, you can. That's the all-purpose continuous refresh plant food. So I dig that in as well, and that will help continue to feed it. And then later in the summer, I will carry on watering, and I use a seaweed feed a lot of the time, sort of once a week or so on the flowers. So let me get on with this and get the soil and that in, and then we'll talk you through the plants. Okay, so this year for these pots and for the deck, I've decided to go a bit sort of more pastel-y. So I've bought sort of some white, pale pinks and some sort of those sort of shades. So the first thing I'm going to start with is these stocks. So you can see they are all sort of pink, white. They're a mix, so you never know which one is which, although I do have one that's just beginning to come out. and stocks have the most fabulous fragrance. So I'm going to put those, I'm going to put 3 of those in the middle, I think, to start with. So let's see how they come out of the, oh, that's good, yeah, lots of good root on them, so they should go down. They are definitely ready to go out. So I'm going to put these in the middle. Usually try and arrange my plants in 3s. It gives a more pleasing appearance, so just putting those in the middle there. As I say, I don't know what colour, but I know they're in that colour palette, so that's fine. So put all those in there. That's those 3 in the middle. Press them down so they really root in. Right. Then what I've got next is I've got some little green leaf pink bicolour begonias. So can you see this little flower? But the leaf as well will contrast because it's got this deep green, and I think the pink will come through nicely. So I'm just going to put 3 of those round outside them. So sort of just beyond and out. Actually, no, I'm not, because they might be a bit smaller, I think. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put round there, I'm actually going to put the antirrhinums because they grow up quite tall. So these are antirrhinums. Snapdragon, remember them from kids when we used to play with them? And these are also in a rose, so similar colour scheme. And sometimes you think, well, do you want to put all those colours? They're all the same, won't it look odd? But with the green of the leaf as well, I think they will contrast out nicely. These have all got really good root systems. Our nearest garden centre, well, the one we go to that's fairly close, I think I've mentioned it before, is Otters. Otters are actually based down in Devon. We used to go there with my mum and dad when we visited, and I've never had a plant from there that hasn't been successful. And we did have one rose that didn't do very well, and we went back the following year because it hadn't done anything, and they immediately replaced it. So highly recommend Otters if you've got one near you. Search online, see where they are. As I say, the main one's down in Holmbury St Mary. No, is it Holmbury St Mary? Might be. Anyway, something like that in Devon. All right, so that's those around there. And so now I'm going to go around with the begonias. Now it probably looks like a lot of flowers, but I find that if I want to do a really good pot for the deck, you really do need lots of flowers in there for it to look its best. And if it starts to look as if it's a bit overcrowded, I can always take some out and move them on. But for the moment, I'm going to give this a go. Right, that's 3 of those in. Right, and then I'm just going to take some of these lovely little bells. So these I actually got from Aldi, and they're Premio Jumbo bedding, and this is a Calibrachoa hot pink and a Calibrachoa pink bicolour. I don't know what Calibrachoa is, but for me they look like mini tumbling bells, but I don't know. I might look them up later and see. But so I'm going to alternate these. Oh gosh, they've got plenty of good root on them. So I'm just going to put, if I can get them in, because now we're running out of soil space. So shifting plants. I probably should have laid them all on, and then put soil around them. But it's easier to do it this way. So one of those there, and one on the opposite side of that colour. I'm hoping these will sort of tumble over the side a bit, but I don't know if they will. I thought I had 4 of each of those, and I don't. So I'm not sure now. Maybe I'll just do one pot. Yeah, that'll give me a few left over to go in with the. Let's put a pink one in there. light pink. Just angle it slightly so it will go over, so hopefully it will go over the side. And another light pink one over here, I think. As I say, you know, if it doesn't start to look right when it all comes up, then I can always lift and move. But for the moment, I'm hoping this will work. Right, I think that's what I want. Probably needs a little bit more soil around it, just to make sure it's all bedded in. That's the only thing I do find is we get through an awful lot of potting compost in tubs like this, but where else that needs it? That's probably all right, and there's maybe a bit more around here. If the soil starts to drop once they've been out for a while and had some rain on them, then I'll... Right, I don't think that's working. I'm not happy with that bit there. I think I want to bring this one round here a bit more. And then that one. That probably will work. As I say, it depends how well the begonias come up. But there you go. So that's my first pot. I'm going to do a similar with the other one, and then they'll both go on the deck, and hopefully we'll have some nice full flowering pots for the summer. So that's the pots. I've got the other pot to do, but I'm just going to get on and do that. You don't need to see me do a second one. And then I'll see if there's anything else I need to get done today. I might want to play with my toy. Okay, so that's those planted, so I'm just going to give them a good water. So they've got a good chance to establish. So this week's weather's looking quite good, so I don't think we're going to have any problem with... And they've been out here hardening off for the last few days anyway, so they seem fine. And we'll see how these go over the next few weeks. Get them well watered in. Good. And hopefully they will look great on the corner of the deck. You can see those from the lounge and up on the deck, so hopefully they'll do well for this summer, but we shall see. Right, job done, and I think probably it's getting fairly close to a break for coffee, so I'm going to take a break and I'm going to see how Mike's doing in the garage. So I had a few of the little bell ones left because I only used 4 in each pot, not 6. So I've put those into this little container that I have on our patio table. I don't know if you can read that, but the grandchildren gave me this back on my 70th birthday, and it says, "If grannies were flowers, I'd pick you every time," which is really sweet. And that was from all my grandchildren on my 70th birthday, and I had lavender in it previous years, but I thought just potted those up into 2 little pots. The only problem with this is it doesn't have drainage, so I do need to keep an eye that they don't, if it rains a lot, that I empty out the rain water from the bottom. But if they grow up in that, it'd be nice on that table, won't it? And if it gets too much for the table, I'll put it onto the deck or the patio. Oh, that's all that bedding plants planted up, so I'm feeling really pleased with that. I think that's all the planting done. Obviously, let me just turn you around. I haven't used my new little tool because I decided not to put those tulips into the soil, so that will have to be used on another day. But I do have some other plants that, if they take off, I want to get into the ground, so maybe I'll use it then. I'll see. Oh, sorry, my hair's all over the place from being out here. So yeah, so good job done this morning. It's nice to get, I'd like to get the bedding plants in because then I know they can take off, and I'm always a bit worried that they'll get too root bound in the containers and then I'll lose them. So that's a bit of a garden job done this morning. So I hope you enjoyed watching me doing that. I hope it was entertaining or helpful, whichever you prefer. And I'm going to go in now and tidy up a bit indoors and have a cup of coffee. So hope you enjoyed that, and see you again soon. Bye.